Well, from the beginning of all this, as you know, if you've been watching, we've been trying to bring attention to the stranglehold on global medicine production that China has. That country doesn't just make many of the world's drugs. For the drugs they don't make, they often make the relevant ingredients. Just how profound is China's dominance of this sector? Well, we found the definitive expert on that question. Rosemary Gibson is a senior advisor at the Hastings Institute and the author of the book China RX, Exposing the Risks of America's Dependence on China for Medicine. She joins us tonight. Thanks so much, Rosemary Gibson, for coming on. So we've been focused a lot on antibiotics. China makes 97% of the ones that we use. But broaden it out a little bit for us. Just how dependent are we for medicine on China?
Tucker, China makes thousands of the ingredients for our generic drugs. Even the medicines to care for people who are hospitalized with coronavirus, 90% of those ingredients come from China. We're talking about basic medicines to take care of people who have infections, who have to be on ventilators. And by the way, Tucker, the story about ventilators, here's why we have a shortage of ventilators in the United States. China stopped shipping the circuit boards to make them. So we have to bring our production back home of medicines and all of our medical supplies. I was at a hospital a couple weeks ago talking about antibiotics, and they said there's some antibiotics they just can't get, and others they're rationing. We are rationing antibiotics in the United States of America because we have lost our industrial base. And we lost our industrial base because China cheated. And American companies have to compete with the Chinese government, not Chinese companies, because those companies are subsidized by their government. How can American companies win against that?
It all happened so fast. It seems like just the other day that most of our pharmaceuticals were made in New Jersey.
Well, there's been a landslide, Tucker, and it began right after we opened up free trade with China. And I document this in China RX. It was absolutely fascinating. Once we opened up free trade, that's when we lost our last aspirin plant in 2002. So we can't make aspirin in the United States. That's when we lost our last penicillin plant, which closed in 2004. At the same time, we lost our ability to make vitamin C. These are basic things we need for life. This is about survivability. So we have to bring that manufacturing back home to this country.
Boy, you just put a fine point on it. Rosemary, thank you for that. I appreciate your coming on.
Thank you, Tucker.